Minute 37. The
Oh,
audio viewer sees flipping a sandwich over and over again. Oh my god. Oh, he's doing it again. He did it again.
my God. Going for a world
He's doing
record.
it again. Oh my god. Oh my god. World record. World
Holy
record
shit.
sandwich.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my god. He's doing tricks with it. He's doing tricks with it. Oh my god. It's hot.
I'm going to turn the fire up.
The goth woman likes sandwiches. They'll love this man.
Crazy stuff. Welcome back to Two's
Gorgeous
Company.
sandwich you got there. Welcome back. Today's topic, we're going to talk about creepy stuff. I have a little creepypasta set up for us that I'm going to read today. And what do you got? What do you got?
Before
What do
you
you got?
get into
Ghost?
today's topic, let me tell you about what happened. What happened at my work today.
God, what happened?
So I was cooking this lady's food, right? And dude, it's so nasty. Anyways, I finished making her food, and then I proceeded to like get her ready to check out or whatever, like pay. And
Yeah,
dude, I kid you not when I say this, she lifted up her leg and just like let it rip. She just like pure like actual like fart shit herself, dude. It was insane.
bro. That's
Yeah, whole
crazy.
leg and everything lifted up,
The lifted leg. That's a dominant fit. That, like, she
dude.
just asserted
She
her
was like,
dominance over you,
dude, she
bro.
was like, I give zero fucks. I need to fart. You're gonna smell it. Which thankfully I had
She just
COVID,
fucking
so
said,
I
"This is
can't smell
mama's
it.
bitch." Huh? Or was it
Dude,
up? Was it
I
up?
can't even tell you how nasty that shit was. Like in my head,
Bro, that's fucking.
I was like, this bitch really just shit herself.
I go crazy for some cheese
And of
fries.
course, I couldn't say anything because like, if I said something, I'd get in trouble. Which is
Right.
bullshit. It's bullshit.
All right. Are we ready? Are we
Yeah.
ready to hear a creepypasta named "If You're Armed at the Glenmont Metro, Please Shoot Me," written by Peter Frost David.
By the way, this is spooky season episode 1.
Spooky season episode 1, but it's episode 2 of Two's Company. Two's coming, two on the two's coming. Two's Company, episode 2, Two's Company. There's two people on the episode 2 of Two's Company. Episode 2, two people on two people of company. Alright. Alright, so this is like a. Alright, you ready? Let me know. Let me know. I'm scared. This is one of my favorite creepypastas of all time, and if you know it, please download the podcast. I'm begging. I will sacrifice at least 3 of my fingers if you download this podcast. Alright.
Bet I got you there, didn't I?
Shake my hand, shake my hand. You fell for it, pussyfoot. Alright. Alright. If you're armed at the Glenmont Metro, please shoot me. Make it a headshot. Shoot me in the temple, aiming direct or slightly downwards. I need the bullet to
Pause.
travel the what?
POV, you're a fucking English teacher. Let's analyze that. Let's analyze this text
Let's
right here.
analyze that. What do you think that means? What do you think the author meant by that? What do you think the author meant by that? What do you
I'll
think the
show
author
you.
meant by that? Whoa, I didn't know you could deep throat a sandwich like that. Bro
Ah!
took an entire foot long into his mouth at once. That was impressive. Woman with strap-ons? Contact this man
What the
immediately.
fuck? No.
Contact this man immediately. Alright. You ready?
You see that tear in my eye? No.
Strap on to your house if you interrupt me reading this creepypasta again. Do you hear me? Damn right, boy. Damn right.
Um,
If you're armed at the Glenmont Metro, please shoot me. Make it a headshot. Shoot me in the temple, aiming slightly down. I need the bullet to travel the shortest possible distance through my brain before it hits my hippocampus. If I'm lucky, the sensation of the gunshot ripping through my skull will only last a few decades. As awful as this sounds, you'll be doing me an enormous favor. Death by a headshot, as soon as possible, is vastly better than the alternative. My ordeal started over 10,000 years ago, at 10:15 this morning.
what the
So I
fuck?
earn extra money by participating in drug trials. I'm a so-called healthy subject who takes experimental drugs. Once it was a kidney drug, a few times it's been something for blood pressure or cholesterol. This morning they told me the drug I took was a psychoactive substance intended to accelerate brain function. None of the drugs I had tested so far have ever done anything for me, in the recreational sense. In other words, none of the drugs I've tested have given me a killer buzz or mellowed me out, or anything. I've always ended up the placebo group,
Lame.
but nothing I've tested had affected me at all. Or maybe I've always ended up the placebo group, but nothing I've tested has affected me at all. Today's drug was different. This shit worked. They gave me a pill at 10:15 and told me to hang out in the waiting room until they called me back for some tests. Only about 30 minutes, the research assistant told me. I flopped into the waiting room couch and read a few articles from a copy of Psychology Today that was sitting on the coffee table. They hadn't called me back when I finished. They hadn't called me back when I finished the Psychology Today, so I picked up a US News or Us News, whatever it is, and read it cover to cover. And then I read an old Scientific American. What was taking them so damn long? I sluggishly turned my head to look at the wall clock. It was only 10:23 a.m. I had read all three magazines in 8 minutes. I remember thinking, this is going to be a long day. I was right. The waiting room had a little bookshelf with some used hardcovers on it. When I stood up to walk to the bookshelf, it felt like my legs barely worked. It's not that they were weak, they were just slow. It took a full minute just to stand up off the couch, and another minute to take 2 steps to the bookcase. I scanned the old books on the shelf and picked out a copy of Moby Dick. My arms had the same problems as my leg. Moby huge, Moby huge. All right. My arms had the same problem as my legs, just reaching 1 foot in front of me to grab the book. It took a long time. I actually got bored just waiting for my hand to reach the spine of the book. I slogged back to the couch and collapsed onto it in a slow motion fall that reminded me of the low gravity hops of the astronauts on the moon. I opened Moby's Dig. Moby Dig. Moby's Dig.
What?
I opened Moby's Dig. I opened. All right. I opened Moby Dig slowly and began reading. I started with Call Me Ishmael and got as far as Ahab throwing his pipe into the sea, which was all the way to friggin' chapter 30 before they called me back. How you feeling? The research assistant asked me.
Like
I
a
feel
hip.
slow, I said. Actually, it's the other way around. Everything's slow because you're so fast. But my legs, my arms, they're moving in slow motion. Your body seems like it's moving slowly because your brain is fast. Your brain is running 10 or 20 times faster than normal. You're thinking and perceiving reality at an accelerated rate. But because your body is still constrained by the laws of biomechanics, frankly, you're moving much faster. Oh, wait. Yeah. Frankly, you're
Got this.
moving much faster than a normal person. She pantomimed a jogging motion. But your brain is running so much faster that even your fast walk seems very slow to you. I thought about my slow motion flop onto the waiting room couch. Even if my muscles had slowed down, my body would still react to gravity the same way. But in the waiting room, I fell. I even fell in slow motion. Slow muscles couldn't explain why gravity seemed weaker. My brain was going at warp 10. That's how I managed to read 3 magazines and the first 30 chapters of Moby Dick in 15 minutes. They ran a series of tests on me. The physical tests were fun. They made me juggle 3 balls, then four, then six. I had no problem keeping 6 balls in the air because they seemed to be moving so slowly. It was boring, frankly, waiting for each ball to move through its arc so I could catch it with my slow motion hand and toss it back into the air. They threw Cheerios in the air and I caught them with chopsticks. They dropped a handful of coins and I counted the total value before they even hit the ground. The cognitive tests were less fun, but very illuminating. Finished a 50 word word search in 3 seconds. Solve an intricate maze drawn onto a poster-sized paper, 2 seconds. View a slideshow projected at 10 images per second and answer detailed questions about what I saw, 95% correct. They told me I measured over 250 on the Knopf scale. Apparently, that's deep into the superhuman range. of thinking speeds. When they sent me home, then they sent me home. It'll wear off in a few hours, they said, which will seem like days to you. Try to use the residual effects to get some work done. Catch up on work emails while you're still in high speed mode. The ride home was horrible. It only it was only 3 metro stops, and in real world time, it only took about 35 minutes. But at my drug accelerated hypertime, it felt like days. Days. Just walking out of the medical research suite to the elevator seemed like it took an hour. I sprinted out of the office, willing my legs to push me faster, but the law of biomechanics held me prisoner. As accelerated as my brain was, I couldn't do anything to make my legs work faster. Yeah? Hold on. For the audio listeners, we're pausing at legs work faster. Ghost is looking around. I don't know what he's looking at. What's up?
I heard a few car doors shut, and I don't know if that was outside my house.
Outside.
Better equipped myself for this.
Home Alone Part 3. Home Alone Part 3. Home Alone Part 3. Home Alone Part 3.
Hold up.
Is everything good? Everything good? This will probably get edited out.
Better equip
No.
myself.
He equipped himself with
A fucking
a
Rambo
knife,
knife.
a Rambo knife. Shwing, it said. All right, all right. You ready? You ready to get back into it? I couldn't do anything to make my legs faster. The huge disconnect between my body and mind made it extremely difficult to judge how and when to slow down. I basically turned into a giant slow motion spaz. I misjudged my speed and rammed into the wall by the elevator button at a pretty good speed. Even though I could see the wall coming at me, I couldn't make my finger outstretched to hit the elevator button move fast enough, and I jammed it against the wall. Hard. The pain was intense. If my brain had been running at regular speed, probably would have only hurt for 30 seconds or so. But in my accelerated state, the intense pain seemed to last for half an hour, 45 minutes maybe. Could you imagine having to deal with the instant pain of like jamming your finger for 35 minutes, like 45 minutes?
Yeah, I live it every day.
Bro's just built different. Bro's born with jammed fingers.
I'm the one in the story.
The
Anyways,
elevator ride was horrible. It felt like I spent 4 or 5 hours just ascending 7 floors, with nothing to look at but the interior of an elevator car. I sprinted to the metro station. I have to admit, this part was almost fun, even though my body moved at what seemed to me super slow speed. I could still carefully choose how and where to place my feet, swing my arms, and turn my torso. It only took a block or two to get used to having a brain that ran 2 dozen times faster than my body. And then I basically sprint danced the rest of the way, twisting and juking between multiple people on the sidewalk and dodging between moving cars with inches, aka minutes, of clearance. Spent an hour in my time frame descending into the subway and running into the platform. Endless tedium waiting 6 minutes for the red line train to arrive. Although there were more to look at on the metro platform, although there was more to look at on the metro platform than inside the elevator, it was still intensely boring. I should have stolen that copy of Moby Dick. The red line trains roared into the station in slow motion. The normally high-pitched squeal of its brakes was frequency shifted by my high-speed mind to a long tune, like a monotone tuba solo. It wasn't just the squealing subway train that was 3 octaves lower than normal. All sound was slowed to the point of near inaudibility. Voices were gone. I shifted below the threshold frequency of my hearing. I did manage to hear a screaming baby on the subway car. Her shrieks slowed to sound like whale song. The sharp sounds like a car horn and trucks bouncing over potholes were low, muddled roars like distant thunder. Back at the research offices, I could still hear and communicate with the research staff, but now verbal communication with anyone would be impossible. The effects of the drug were still intensifying. I spent what seemed like days on that fucking red line train. Days, listening to the whale song of this screaming baby and the tuba solo of the brake. where ordinary voices were frequency shifted out of my audio range. Smells didn't even seem to be affected. I never became nose blind to the body odor, the stench of the train's brakes, the melange of farts and other smells wafting through the metro car. I finally got back to my apartment, sprinting through my open door, and uh, and into the front hall at full speed was like a slow. Wait, I finally got back to my apartment, sprinting through my open door and into the front hall at full speed. It was like a slow, relaxing drift down a lazy river. So sorry, everybody, because I have to read this off of a Reddit post. This is where I found it. So it's kind of a rough thing that I have to, think through because it's not always spelled right and not always phrased right. So I'm sorry if there are any like errors in my reading because it's a little bit of a rough read, but it's really good.
Also, audio listeners, Blue paused for a second in that little phrase because he saw me trying to say keep going because my phone was about to fucking die. It was at 4%. Yeah, it was at four
I
percent.
keep
So I
mine plugged in.
had to run and get my charger.
So alrighty, ready to get
Yeah.
back into it. Relaxing drift down a lazy river. I was relieved to be home. At least I had stuff I could do there. I picked a book I was reading, 100 Years of Solitude, and finished it. Despite turning the pages so quickly that I tore many of them, it seemed like most of the time I spent finishing the book was spent on page turning and not actually reading. 3 minutes had passed since I got home. I tried surfing the internet. My God, it takes a long time for computers to boot these days. But it was too frustratingly slow. Hours, seemingly, to load each new page, and a fraction of a second to read it. 100 articles in my news feed read in just 3 more minutes done. I dipped into my pile of yet to be read books and finished 2 more. 4 more minutes had passed. I decided to try and sleep off the remaining effects of the drug. Unfortunately, whatever part of my mind is responsible for perception, that's the part that's been accelerated to hyperspeeds by the drug. It isn't the same as the part that governs sleep. Despite being awake for what I perceived as days, my physical brain still thought it was 1:25 p.m. It was not ready for sleep. Nevertheless, I tried to sleep. I walked to my bedroom, a slow 45-minute drift through my apartment, and flung myself into bed, lazily falling like a feather onto the mattress. I closed my eyes and lay there for hours and hours, 10 minutes of reality time, before giving up. Sleep would not come. I was facing what was going to feel like days, or even weeks of being trapped in slow motion prison. So I took an Ambien. The sensation of the pill and the splash of water I used to swallow it sliding down my throat was sickening. A lump that blocked my breathing, moving like a slug down my esophagus.
What the
I read a
fuck?
book. Could you imagine having to swallow a pill in slow motion? Like, I already hate it. I cannot, like, dry, I cannot swallow a
A pill in slow motion. It's crazy, but
pill. Yeah.
it feeling like a fucking slut?
I mean, with the water, could you, like, it's a slowed down water, so it's viscous. It's like a, you know?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that again, but louder? Audio
Like a
listeners,
slowed down.
we love you, but I'm sorry I disappeared for another like 2 minutes. I heard a crash somewhere in the house. Had to go check it out.
You got ghosts.
Probably. I think one of my grandparents keep turning the light off above the stove. Anyways, back on topic for the
All
audio
right.
listeners.
I
But
read a
like,
book. 10 minutes had passed. I read another. 18 minutes since I took the Ambien. I threw the book across the room in disgust at my situation. The book slowly pirouetted and spun through the air, like a leaf blowing in the breeze. It hit the wall with a long, faint rumble, the only sound I'd heard for what seemed like hours. then drifted to the floor like a flip-flop sinking in a swimming pool. The force of gravity hadn't changed since I took the pill. The laws of physics were the same. It was just my perception of time that had gone wackadoo. This meant that the speed things, I could use the speed things seem to fall. Wait, what? Sorry, we're hitting a rough part. What this says is, what this meant I could use the speed things seem to fall as a way of judging. Okay, yeah, yeah. This meant I could use the speed things seem to fall as a way of judging the effects of the drug. Based on how long it took the book to drift to the floor, I estimated the effects of the drug were still intensifying. I read a magazine, turned on the television. I clearly saw each frame of video like I was watching a slideshow. Frustrated, I turned the television on. I read some more, the first two books of Churchill's A History of the English-Speaking People. Not exactly light read. Frankly, I hated it. But given the hours of tedium it would take to get another book off my bookshelf, just sitting on the couch and reading Churchill was better, or at least less worse. It had now been 35 minutes since I took the Ambien. I lay down on the couch and closed my eyes. Time passed. I inhaled. An hours long process. Time passed. I exhaled for more hours. Sleep would not come. I needed a new plan. I decided to go back to the offices where they gave me the drug. Maybe they would have something that could counteract its effects, or at least something that would knock me out till it wore off. I exited my apartment as fast as possible, taking hours in my time frame to do so. I didn't even bother locking the door, it would have taken too long. Down the stairs is faster than the elevator if you run, through the lobby, and out the front door and onto the street. These few things felt like a long day at the office. Sprinting down the street, dancing and weaving between pedestrians with what must have looked to them the superhuman dexterity, down the first flight of stairs of the metro, across the landing, another hour, and then onto the second flight of stairs. That's when the Ambien hit. The Ambien didn't make me sleepy, not at all. Instead, it must have had a severe cross reaction with the experimental drug I took this morning. I was bounding down the second flight of stairs, moving in slow motion, but still making perceptible progress when wham, everything stopped. The dull roar of the street and metro noise ceased, replaced by the most perfect silence I've ever experienced. My downwards motion seemed to completely freeze before the ambient kicked in, my perception of time was maybe a few hundred times slower than real time. After the ambient took effect, time moved thousands of times slower. Every
Man,
second seemed like days to me. Even just moving my eyes to focus on a new point was like an impossibly slow scroll across my visual field. Over the course of the afternoon, I learned how to walk, run, and jump when my mind ran hundreds of times faster than my body. But with another 4 or 5 orders of magnitude of slowdown caused by the ambient, body control was almost impossible. I fell on the stairs. Even though I was all but frozen in mid-step, controlling my muscles was impossible. I commanded my foot forwards for hours, and then backwards for hours more when it seemed like I would miss the next step. Hours attempting to adjust the angle of my ankle, then readjusting when it felt wrong. Despite these efforts, I rolled my ankle on the next step. The pain wasn't mitigated by the slowness. Hours of increasing strain on my bent ankle. The nerve signals that sent pain into the brain must work differently than the nerves in my ear. Sonic energy was spread out over time, diluted until it was imperceptible. Pain flowed into my brain, undiluted by the change in my perception of time. Hours and hours of increasing weight on my turned ankle turned into hours and hours of increasing pain upon increasing pain. I pitched forwards, my high-speed mind completely unable to control my low-speed body. I drifted downwards for days, managing to rotate my torso enough to keep my head from impacting the ground first. I eventually landed on my right shoulder. At first, the impact wasn't even noticeable. And then I felt a slight pressure in my shoulder as it came in contact with the ground. The pressure grew, bringing increasing pain. Hour upon hour upon hour, my shoulder finally gave out, popping out of its socket with an endless, sickening tug. I came to a stop days later, crumpled onto the ground, staring at the ceiling. screaming with the intensity of a fresh injury. I had plenty of time to think during that fall. If every second seemed like days to me, then each minute of real world time would be like years. Even if the drug cleared out of my system in the next 2 or 3 hours, this nightmare would seem to last centuries. By the time I hit the ground, I had a plan. I would somehow get to the platform and throw myself in front of the train. I twisted onto my hands and knees, days of my dislocated, crying for relief. I misjudged my rotation and rolled on my back. I tried again, collapsing onto my face as I tried to figure out how to control a body that moved slower than grass grew. Weeks of effort were finally rewarded with success. I stabilized on my hands and knees. If getting on all fours was this difficult, I figured that walking or running was completely out of the question. So I crawled. I crawled to the metro tunnel. The dumb looks on the faces of the crowd lingered on me for weeks. I crawled under the turnstile and onto the escalator. The escalator spilled the rush hour crowd onto the platform at the same speed a glacier spills ice onto the sea. I looked out over the crowded platform during my interminable downward ride. The train status sign said the next train wouldn't arrive for 20 minutes. 20 minutes was like a year for me. I had to spend a year on the metro platform, waiting to die. I crawled off the escalator, enduring days of stupid expressions on the commuters' faces. I crawled a few feet to a concrete bench and curled up next to it, trying to find a position to lessen the pain in my shoulder. Then my problem with time got worse. Impossibly worse. A massive slowdown on the stairs was just the beginning of the interaction between the experimental drug and the ambient. It fully hit me while I was curled up by the bench. I blinked. Years of darkness followed. The sound was already gone, and with my blink, sight was gone with it as well. And all that existed was the pain from my fall. My hyperaccelerated mind wasted no time compensating for the lack of sensory output. Voices spoke to me. They sung to me in different languages that never existed. Patterns and faces and colors came and went in my mind's eye. I recalled my whole life and imagined living another. I forgot English. I settled into profound despair. I spoke to God. I became God. I imagined a new universe and brought it to life with my thoughts. And then I did it all again. And I did it all again. My eyes opened with geologic slowness, a faint glow, weeks, a sliver of white, weeks, a narrow view of the metro platform, ankles of the commuters near me, and an advertisement on the opposite wall. I extracted my phone from my pocket, a project that spanned decades. How can I even explain the boredom? The pain in my shoulder is nothing compared to the boredom. Every thought I can think, I've thought hundreds of times already. The view of ankles and advertisements never changes. Never. The boredom. Hold on. Another rough part. The view of ankles and advertisements never changes. Never. The boredom is so intense it's tangible, like a solid object of metal and stone wedged into my skull. Inescapable. What are my options? If I crawl and fall into the tracks without an oncoming train to crush me, I won't die. I'll experience even more pain from a 4 foot fall, but I'll most likely be rescued by some do-gooder on the platform and unable to act when the train finally does arrive. My suffering in that scenario will be endless. So I wait for the train, so I can throw myself under it. When it finally hits me, I will experience the pain of being ripped to pieces for centuries until finally the light of life leaves my brain and my experience ends. I've lived hundreds of lifespans at the foot of this bench. I am far older in spirit than any human who has ever lived. Most of my life experience has been a snapshot of pain, huddled on the floor of a subway platform with an unchanging view of ankles and advertisements.
Teacher, when does this story get good?
Well, this is, I think, the last few bits. Could you imagine a colonial's dream, bro? Just always getting to look at ankles.
I think
Once
I
you
think
buckle my shoe and shit.
I think Blue too has an ankle.
No, don't say it. No.
I think he has a kink for feet.
Entire footlongs into my mouth. Oh, I did it. At least I don't fit entire footlongs into my mouth.
I didn't fit a foot long into my mouth, motherfucker.
Yo, yo, you fit a whole ass footlong sandwich in your mouth, and I was
No.
honestly turned
Oh,
on by it. You froze. It's just, no, no.
oh.
All right,
Shorty
back on
showed me
topic,
the
back on
video.
topic. All right. This post is my plan B, my Hail Mary, my long shot. I've spent lifetimes typing and posting this message in the hope that someone will read it and become convinced that my suffering must end. Someone on this platform right now. Someone who will find the man curled under the bench, the man who crawled down the escalator, and kill him as swiftly as possible. A bullet to the temple. If you're armed at the Glenmont Metro, please, please shoot me. And that's all we got. So that's if you're armed at the
That's
Glenmont
some
Metro and
depressing
at the
shit.
Glenmont, right? I mean, like, could you like put yourself in his shoes? Like,
I don't
yes,
want
you
to be
can
in
wait
his
it out.
shoes. His shoes sound like they fucking suck.
Exactly, bro. If you like, you could wait it out technically. You know, power of human,
No,
you know,
will,
like
will, the
stubbornness,
willpower.
but exactly willpower. But that's a mentally crushing thing. Like, that is absolutely terrifying. That terrifies me. Yeah. Like, I don't even know what I do in that situation, to be honest with you. What about you? You got any spooky stuff? That was pretty scary.
The lady that shit herself at my work was pretty scary.
Fair enough. That was pretty fucked up. That was pretty scary, man.
Wasn't talking to you, dumb bitch, dude. I fucking hate the.
Hmm. Your watch, your
No,
your
I
Apple
love my
Watch.
watch. I love my watch. It's the fucking
You hate
the voice
Alexa.
assistant.
Google
No,
Alexa.
no.
Alexa, play Smash Mouth.
You'll do no such thing.
Did
Don't
she,
rise up and kill me.
did she start?
No,
Oh, I would
I just thought
imagine
it'd be
that
funny for the
someone
bit
had this
because
on. Like,
there's one right over here.
I want to imagine that someone had this just playing out loud, and so now their Alexa's playing Smash Mouth. I'm really hoping so. But yeah, no, that's like that'd be awesome in slow down
Maybe if
time for your brain. Stuck.
Robert Moan. Okay, Jabba the Hutt, we get it.
Gibata Kambata. Only real Star Wars fans will get it. Well, I think
Fucking nerd.
for our first spooky episode, and episode two of Two's Company with two people on the Two's Company and two mouths and two four eyes and two and four arms and two
Even though one
two
person's talking the
wieners.
whole time,
Hey man, if you had something else, we could make this like a longer video. I'm just saying. And I was
I
reading a
do want to
story.
bring something up, but I don't know if I want to.
Oh,
I'll tell you outside of the podcast because
okay.
it involves another podcast. Well,
Oh, gotcha.
certain somebody from this podcast,
Right, right. I know what
and
you're
I
talking
don't
about.
want to. If the viewers listen to us and they listen to them too, I don't want to ruin them. Like
Yeah.
that's shit.
Hmm.
Um, could you find the Russian sleep experiment on that bitch and send it to me so I can have something to read too?
Shoot, yeah. I mean, if you're fine with editing out a little bit of silence.
Who said we had to be quiet?
True, true. I'm gonna be quiet because I want to be typing. You can yap, and
Yeah,
I'll respond. I'll respond
yeah.
a little bit. All right,
I should
all right.
probably stop screaming
Uh,
before the cops get cold.
real.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Somebody just fucking ring the doorbell?
Ding dong, ding dong. Fuck your life.
Nah, I'm just going insane.
Insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain.
Hey, I think that's copywritten, motherfucker.
I'm really hoping that's not copyrighted.
You know what's copywritten? Yeah, I don't fucking know. Like everything.
But
So this episode's probably gonna release like pretty quick. But I know something else that we could do if you're up for it.
What's up?
We can make a video, and because we haven't made a video in a minute.
Yeah, on the
I have an idea. On our Two's company.
oh sorry. I also sent the immersion sleep experiment thing to you.
You did? Well,
Yeah.
I haven't got it yet. There it is. I'm over here. I haven't got it yet, but there it is. What the fuck? This motherfucker sent me a whole Word document. Oh shit, hold on. My phone stopped charging. Hold on, let me go get my laptop. Let me bring the viewers with us.
Whoa. Yeah.
Can I flip this bitch?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Oh wait. Why does it say? Did we lose our thing?
No. No. I don't think we
This only
did.
said 19 seconds, 20 seconds.
No.
Did we just lose 30 minutes of podcast?
I don't think so.
40 minutes of podcast? Can
I
we
don't
check
think
real
so,
quick?
because it's still recording. It's still recording on my part.
Yeah, but it paused. Like it's still recording for me, but I'm only at like 40 seconds.
Oh, my finger! What? Yeah.
Me too, man. Me too. Can we check real quick? Oh no, what'd you do?
I fucking hate the clothes that are on that door. They just, like, creep the fuck out of me.
I think he's a little weird
So,
guy.
from where I'm standing, I have all my shit, and then I see that. Tell me that
Shit,
doesn't look
that's
like a
fucking
person.
terrifying.
Get the
That's fucking.
fucking goose pimple. The goose pimple.
You got the chicken skin, mijo?
I got the motherfucker.
You got the
Hey, fuck you.
que corazón. I don't know the rest of it because I'm not Mexican.
I don't even fucking know what you're saying.
Es la hora de comer, gringo.
Hey!
Pinche perro. Yo quiero tamal. Rate my Spanish. Can we check real quick if we have that saved, please? And thank you. Because like I'm a little worried about that.
If I'm being honest, I don't know if I leave, it'll like end it.
I mean, we can just leave it now and then save it